Good morning, everyone. My name is Corrigan, and I'm the Climate Action and STG Officer here in Meath County Council. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing here in Meath, and I'm just going to share my screen now, so bear with me for a second. You can talk among yourselves. Okay, ready to go. So first of all, before we start, I'd really just like to acknowledge the hard work that my team do. Alan, Catherine, and Peter, you can see them pictured there. They do a huge amount of work, and the things I'm going to talk about now would not have happened without the team in place. So, they deserve a huge amount of credit. You're probably wondering what that strange looking zebra is doing there on the side, but hopefully by the end of this presentation, it'll be clear what's going on. So I'm going to tell you first of all a little bit about our story and how we started off and how we got to the point we are now. But before I do that, I'd also just like to acknowledge the support and the help I get from our Chief Executive, Jackie Maguire, my line manager, Larry Whelan, and Cathaoirleach David Gilroy, who are very supportive of all our initiatives and even some of the more maybe crazy ones out there. So, it's great to have that support and trust in what we're doing as well. So we actually started this journey back in 2016 with a great amount of reluctance. We knew climate change, this was coming down the line, but we were busy in environment and the waste enforcement side, so it was just another thing we had to do. So we appointed consultants to prepare a climate action strategy for the county and to climate proof the county development plan. And there was no kind of firm deadlines because it was kind of just rolling along and trying to fit this in with all the other work we were doing at the same time. So things really started to move quite quickly in July of 2019 when a climate change and biodiversity emergency was declared. So an emergency situation requires an emergency response. So in response to that we arranged for climate action training to be held for the elected members. I think it's about 3 weeks afterwards. We had good attendance and we were the first local authority in the country to actually provide such training. So from that training, the Climate Action Forum was established, and I'll speak a little bit more about that in the case studies. So really from that point onwards, we kind of start to actively engage with citizens. So we had climate action roadshows where we went to the MD to meet people to showcase what can be done in terms of energy, environmental things, and so forth. We got ourselves in some newspaper articles and just, I suppose, try to have a big presence out there where at all possible. We also run a few in-house initiatives as well to try and kind of change organisation culture and to get the staff involved as well. And then late last year, we became a team of four. So we actually had the proper resources to do these things we wanted to do. And also at the end of last year, the Meath Climate Academy was born. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in the future slides. So really, we've been kind of doing a good bit. And then, of course, COVID struck and a lot of plans had to be shelved, and no different to yourselves, change the way you work. So really the most up-to-date thing we do now really is we have embraced the Sustainable Development Goals. So that falls under the remit now of the Climate Action team. So we're going to drive that as well. There's a lot of overlaps in the work we do and the work required for SDGs. So we're leading on that. And that's, I suppose, a new thing for us to do as well. So it's exciting and different. Also, we're constantly learning. There's a huge amount of information related to climate there. So it's a constant learning process. And in terms of what we're telling people as well, really, our message is quite clear. We're saying buying local is one of the easiest things and the best things you can do for climate action. And every single action counts, no matter how small, they all add up together to big changes. We also use the hashtag Meath Climate Matters quite a bit as well. So it matters as in it's information about climate crisis and climate action, and matters as in it's important. So why is leadership important to us? Well, I suppose if we want people to embrace climate change or climate action, we have to be at the front leading so people can follow us. There's also opportunity focused there as well, so we can showcase the many opportunities that the climate emergency is bringing. There's plenty of challenges, but there's just as many opportunities as well. There's also maybe issues around trust and perception of the local authority. Maybe people's experience of local authorities may be negative. They maybe don't fully understand the role the local authority plays. So embracing climate action, the SDGs can have to change that as well. And also we, including the elected members, are well placed to do so. We have a huge amount of customers. We have over 200,000 customers here in Meath. So there's a lot of people there we can interact with. It's also a chance to be different and creative and to do things a little bit differently as well. And it would also help bring climate action and the behaviours around that into our organisation culture, which will eventually become part of our identity. And then finally, it's in many plans, policies and charters, so we simply must lead. So I'm going to just go very quickly through the challenges engaging with people. And this is the only negative slide in the whole presentation, you'd be glad to hear, but I think it's important to cover it. First of all, it's the perception around the crisis. Maybe people see there's no immediate threat. It's often perceived as far away, both in time and geography. It's not a priority to many as well, especially with COVID going on at the moment. And I suppose climate change is about everything, but not everything is about climate change. There's still a few deniers out there, not a huge amount, but I'd say the bigger problem is the people who are indifferent, who knows climate change and the climate crisis is happening, but there's just maybe there's other things going on. So it's really important we connect with these people. Language as well is really, really important. We usually talk about the climate crisis, the climate emergency. Try not to use words like climate change. We talk about people, not stakeholders. And I personally dislike the word stakeholders. I think it's cold and impersonal. But the language needs to be really clear, concise, and non-scientific as well. And it's important to remember as well that not everybody shares your view or passion. I think everybody in this room today are very committed to climate action, but I suppose we're maybe minority, so not everyone shares those opinions. We're also surfing a sea of change and uncertainty, and large that amount of that is down to COVID. And many people are change adverse as well. There's maybe a lack of trust in local authorities and a lack of understanding in the full range of work that local authorities do. So I think we need to maybe try and change that as best we can. We want people as well to take action, but habits are more important. For example, it's a good idea to buy a keep cup, but unless you use it, it's no good to anybody. There's also an issue around maybe climate information overload. There's a huge amount of information out there. And of course, some of that is fake news as well. So how do we make that interesting and personal? So we might need a different approach to how we actually talk about it and get that information discharged to the people. From that as well, with all that, I suppose maybe doom and gloom information as well, there's maybe a little bit of an issue around climate anxiety. You can kind of see that starting to come in now as well, and people are concerned a little bit about that. As well as that, people also work in silos, so their issue is the more important than anybody else's. And I know we can maybe work in silos ourselves, so you can kind of have an understanding where they're coming from. Excuse me. And then finally, everybody on Facebook and on social media is an expert in everything. And I suppose we've seen that over the years as well. But I just want to show you just some information I pulled from social media, just to maybe explain what I was talking about there as well. The one on the left is from a video I did to Buy Local. And as you can see, my position should be dissolved. Hopefully just not me, just my position, not me personally. The one on the right was in relation to, I think it was paper cups or straws, but you can see there's a very mixed reaction. People saying, yeah, they get it, but there's more important things going on. And then just other people kind of making, I suppose, a mockery of it. So now for the good news. Um, so I suppose as local authority staff, we've never had such a blank canvas or such an opportunity to be part of something new, to be at the start of something, to be creative and imaginative. So we know where we have to get to, but how we get there, it's entirely up to us. So it's a really exciting time and a great opportunity, I think, at the moment to actually be involved in this. It seems like a huge challenge as well, but the opportunities are massive. And I think it is an exciting place to be at the moment. And I'm sure in the future, lots of people will want to join us on that journey as well. So I'm going to launch into the case studies now. So I mentioned the Climate Action Forum previously. So this came about from the initial training we had done. It was our Cahill David Gilroy who came up with this suggestion. So basically, it's all party and no party as such. It's all MD and all SPCs are represented. So really, it's to promote the climate action strategy and the work of the climate action team to lead, develop linkages, to participate in events, provide feedback from constituents, etc. So, and of course, elected members have a close relationship with those constituents as well, like they're part of their communities. We've also gone on tour to see things. So we went to Farmony, went to the Rediscovery Centre. So I suppose if you see something, you remember it and you can talk to other people about it. I have to say, it's a very different space from maybe the traditional spaces or where we meet councillors. It's very positive, huge amount of energy in the room, a lot of ideas generated, and I think everybody is really on the same page. We're at the stage now as well where we've been talking about it, but now we're at the doing stage, the action stage. So we want to capture all these actions, all these acts of leadership as well, that we can actually compile them and learn from them and share our experience with others. So on to case study number 2, which is the Meath Climate Academy. So we were doing quite a bit of training. So we needed kind of an umbrella or something to kind of drive and deliver this training. So we come up with the idea of the Meath Climate Academy. So really our objectives here are to provide trusted training on climate action and biodiversity to citizens, communities and businesses. We want to empower people to talk about the climate and biodiversity crisis and give them the skills to encourage others into action and along this journey. We will never charge for training. It will always be free. And we now have a good network of speakers and collaborators who are happy to work with us. But unfortunately, COVID has had a huge impact on what we've done. So I just want to take you through our first event, which happened last January. We had an excellent lineup of speakers and well-known speakers. We had Dr. Karen Gustenberg, Pádraig Fogarty, Ali Sheridan, people who are familiar within the climate industry. We covered topics such as climate and biodiversity crisis, climate justice, communications, and we had some light entertainment mid-afternoon with comedian Colin Corrigan just to kind of get us through the day because it was quite a long day. We also had a local school from Duleek. They were invited to attend and they gave a fantastic presentation on a book they had written about climate change. It was also a climate friendly event. We had no plastics, no paper. We used local foods. People got a tree when they left. So it was very much, trying to keep it low carbon as best as possible. So we had 62 people from 10 to about 80 something. Excellent feedback from participants. Everyone really enjoyed the day. And there's a small video there. You can actually get a snapshot of the day. And I suppose we didn't probably appreciate it at the time. It's only when we look back and we kind of went, yeah, that was a really good event. We were a little bit concerned we'd have no shows, but thankfully we had a good response and everybody seemed to really enjoy the day. So we had great plans. We were going to do a sustainable tourism event, climate summit, which would include students from local schools and elected members. But of course, COVID struck and everything came to a sharp halt. We looked at trying to deliver these online, and it can be done. It's certainly like today, it can be done. But it's difficult if you want to interact with people. And if we're going to deliver something, we want to do it well. We just don't want to do it for the sake of doing it and not produce a good event. So we have delivered a scale back versions tourism event, and we're looking now working individually at schools on mini summits. But that's kind of tricky. Schools, I suppose, are up to their eyes with COVID related issues and so forth. So that's a little bit tricky. The good thing is we have met with many people, connected with many people through organising these events and many change makers. So it's good to expand our network in that. So this case number 3, Purls of Wisdom, is a personal favourite of mine. This was in collaboration with ICRAG, which is the Irish Centre for Research into Applied Geosciences, and I hope I've got that right, Age Friendly, and the Solstice Art Centre here in Meath. So basically we're using woolcraft to showcase the climate stripes and to show how the world is heating up. And you can see a picture there of some of our fantastic knitters and crocheters. So we basically give them the information presented in a different range of colours. We give them the wool and off they went, knitted at top speed, couldn't keep up with them. So the plan is to showcase these fantastic pieces of work, and we will donate those pieces to people living with Alzheimer's and dementia who have a need for these brightly coloured pieces. So there's a small video there on YouTube as well. You can have a look at that, just explain a little bit more about the project. So this actually grew quite quickly as well. We actually became part of the New Era Climate Exhibition in the Solstice in Navan, and it gained a huge amount of interest. You can see just on the top left picture there, you can just about see the display, the colourful display there. And I've been up there quite a bit with for meetings and so forth in the cafe, and it's amazing just to watch people. They're drawn to it straight away because the colours, and there's a bit of text, so you can actually read about it. So we're getting a really, really good response to that, but now unfortunately that's closed as well due to COVID. So it's just a little bit unfortunate there as well. But we do hope to expand the project working with ICRAG and Age Friendly. So we're keen to do that and make it a bigger project. We also worked with St Mary's Special School here in Navan, and they produced some lovely dream catchers for the tree that my daughter is modelling there. Unfortunately, we can't, as it's not open, we can't showcase them, but we're actually going to try and move it online so people can actually see the lovely work that they've produced. So case study number 4, and this is tackling the elephant in the room, which in this case is actually a cow. So as we know, the agri sector are huge emitters of greenhouse gases and obviously methane, and Meath ourselves have a huge agricultural sector. We've blessed with fertile land, and it is a big sector. A lot of people are involved in farming, whether it be in a full-time or part-time basis. And unfortunately, and usually, our interaction with farmers maybe are negative. It's maybe around enforcement under waste or water pollution legislation. And while we don't have a direct involvement in agricultural activities, we can certainly help to influence it. So this is an idea that came about from our Cahill to maybe start a conversation with the agri sector and kind of see, how we can all help each other and collaborate. So we had a workshop at the end of August in Devonish. So Devonish, I'd highly recommend a visit if you get the chance to go out there. They are a research facility looking into animal nutrition, but they have 5 PhD students working at the moment, investigating everything from, excuse me, soil to the crops to what the animal eats and right to your dinner on a plate as such. So it's a fascinating project. So we collaborate there with them and MOCRA and credit unions. So you're probably wondering, that's maybe a little bit of a strange mix. Why did we pick those people? And we had to keep it small due to COVID, but also we wanted to keep it small just so everybody had a voice in the room as well, and we weren't all talking over each other. But MOCRA and credit unions, really the reason behind that was that in every village and parish practically, there is a credit union, and MOCRA have a presence there as well. So it's very much going back to that local presence. And while they coexist, they probably don't maybe interact a huge amount. So it's great to just get everybody sitting down and explaining the challenges they faced and what's needed to kind of work together as well. So it was very successful. Everybody came away very, I suppose, enthusiastic from it. But we plan to organise quarterly events and bring more people into the circle and connect more people together. So this is an ongoing project. internet. So case study number 5, social media. So we are now on Twitter. We're on it about 6 months now with @MeClimate. And we don't have a huge amount of followers at the moment, but hopefully after this we'll have a few more. But it's a really powerful tool for discreet leadership. So it's really a positive space for awareness, engaging with people in what we do, like-minded people, showcasing our work and also the work of others, getting information out there on climate action and maybe what you can do and just what's current in climate action as well in relation to climate emergency. So we find the humorous and quirky tweets are good, just get a good reaction and I suppose show the fun or the human side to Meath County Council as well. But unfortunately, there's also a lot of trolling out there as well. So we don't actively engage with negative comments and we're always mindful of the troll. So I suppose we live by the rule that tweet others as you would like to be tweeted. It's a very good rule to live by as such. So we follow people who are leaders and trusted as well, I suppose, to maybe align ourselves with those type of people. And it does take time to build followers, but we do have a few high profile followers of people who have a lot of followers following them. So we have access to quite a few people there as well. So I just want to show you some of the examples of things we do. So that the one on the left was from October just gone. So about Irish Book Week, that got a huge amount of impressions, nearly 4,500 impressions. And that's a lot for us because a typical impression would only be in the hundreds. So it's great to see those figures. We actually did a great response for Poetry Day. We had a planned event, which we had to postpone, but we went online. We chose our favorite poems and Dr. Hillock even wrote a poem. So we just we did a lot of, I suppose, a Twitter blitz on that day as well. But we're only very new to Twitter at that stage. I think we're only a week into it and we got over 3,500 impressions. Is really, really good. The one on my right is a personal favorite. To celebrate the first birthday of the Climate Action Forum, I baked a delicious chocolate and banana tea bread made with cricket powder. So it's absolutely delicious. So I fed that to the councillors and the CAF, and then I brought it back to the office and then fed everybody in corporate services with it. So it was an interesting day and a career highlight, I have to say. So another thing that came about from Twitter or allowed us to do this really was the competition. So during lockdown, we ran a huge amount of competitions. We had drawing competitions, essay competitions, colouring competitions. We had an Easter bunny that people could colour in and got a chance to name. We had virtual Easter egg hunts, and then we reused the Easter bunny in August, where he went on a virtual tour around County Meath, the staycation. So, and then we're now doing a book review as well. So this got great interaction, really good response from people, and especially parents as well. Really enjoyed it, great feedback, and it kind of helped to buy in as well and show kind of like, the creative side of how people can get involved as well. So it's quite simple to do, quite low cost to do as well. So we're very much a learning organisation, as I said at the start, and we still have a huge amount to learn. So I'm very proud to say we are now, 5 of us have got the climate reality leadership qualifications. So the climate action team and Arthur Hirlock as well are now climate reality leaders, so we can actually go out and give training. So there's a huge amount of information out there, and it can be overwhelming at time as well. But during lockdown, we took the opportunity to really try and upskill as well and connect with a lot of people. So as I said, we're involved in climate reality, Empower, global development, cities of tomorrow, Central European University. We've been involved in lots of bits and pieces and interacting with people. But it's I have to say it's brilliant. You get to meet so many people and just find out maybe what's going on across the world, or especially across Europe as well. There's a huge amount to learn from these various people we're connecting with and learning from. We also read a lot. We have a climate book library. We're a bit nerdish when it comes to reading about that. So that's everybody is kind of taking a book and trying to learn, upskill a bit more about climate change. So collaboration is really, really important as well, and we need to grow our network. So I know from experience, being the climate person in the organization can be a lonely place to be. It's kind of you against the world maybe, and trying to change things and bring everyone along. But it's important to remember there's a huge amount of people out there that are in a similar situation, and across all the local authorities, there's an opportunity to develop a great network there, for sharing ideas and really supporting each other as well, because the support is really as important as the learnings and everything else, that there's people there who've got your back and that you can rely on and go to for help or whatever. But also to look in-house first. I mean, we've got a huge amount of support from our library section, our energy officer and age-friendly team as well. They've been a massive support in some of our projects. And then of course, for bigger funding stream applications, we're going to need to collaborate. We as a local authority are too small to apply for these, so we need to work together, whether it be in the public or private sector. And also we try to work with people who are trusted as well, to align ourselves to those type of people. This little sign on the right hand side, I saw that when I invited myself down to the National Waste Permit Collection Office, the fantastic offices down there. And I just thought that says it all really. It's if you surround yourself with people who get it, the journey is going to be much, much easier. So storytelling as well is a big part of what we do, and your acts of leadership eventually become part of your story. So what I would say is document your journey and make a record of everything you do, everything you go to, you're involved in, you contribute to, whatever it is, and show your work. It's a bit like being back at school, show your work. And photographs are probably the best way to do this. So I always apologize in advance to people because I just take, look, and I please take a photograph or get into the photograph. And I don't like photographs myself, so I know I'm a nuisance with that aspect. But it's a really good way to record what you do, because when you end up doing lots of different bits and pieces, you kind of forget what you've done, and it all becomes a blur. Videos as well are another great way to show leadership and to get your information out there as well. I must compliment Ailish, our communications person here. She's great at organising me for videos. I'm not comfortable doing them, but she's great. She's very particular about things, and tries to produce the best videos possible. So it's also important to be inclusive as well and bring everybody on that journey as well, and include them in the things you're doing as well to make the circle bigger and bigger. And then just celebrate the quick wins and small changes. It may seem like small stuff, but when it all adds up, it turns into something big. And it's also important maybe to acknowledge the contributions and the opportunities out there, and congratulate others on the work they're doing as well. And if you just keep repeating it and repeating it, eventually some of it does actually stick and goes in. So the picture there, photographs on the right, are just, I suppose, a collage of the things we've been doing, we've been involved in, and just, this bits of everything really there as well. And so just it's a snapshot of what we're doing. But of course, everything not everything goes to plan, and I don't want you going away thinking, oh my God, everything is perfect in Meath County Council and everything is brilliant. It's certainly not, but there's positives to take from everything. So really don't let this picture fool you. This is one of our climate action roadshows, and we had very poor attendance. I mean, really bad. The people picture there are not attendees, they're people who actually worked there in the event, and we had great attendance by our councillors, but unfortunately not a huge amount of people came through the door. But actually at this event, we met an amazing young man who, from a local school, who does a huge amount in his community and his home, in school, in relation to climate action. So we decided, look, let's make him our first Meath climate champion. So, something good comes from everything, even when it doesn't go according to plan. So I'd say as well to try new things and don't be afraid to explore. Keep it local. That's really important. People respond better to local issues. You need to be highly resilient, as you have seen from the last slide. But there's a great opportunity to be adventurous, be creative, use your imagination. Just think up of any ideas, because they all have value as well. And a lot of the time you won't actually know something works until you try it. And a lot of the stuff we've tried has been small scale, but it is scalable. It can turn into something bigger. Often as well, when we're marketing events, we don't have it as a climate event. We try to wrap it up as something else to appeal to more people as well, that sometimes climate can be a little bit off-putting to people. And of course, a brass neck and a hide like a rhino is very useful, and thankfully I'm blessed with both. So this picture here just shows this is an event we planned, an in-house event. We only decided the day before to do it, so it was very quickly put together. We had the props, and we basically sat ourselves down in the canteen and asked people, look, will you make a climate pledge? And we took a photograph. We also fed them some lovely vegan chocolate, so they got something out of it as well. But we ended up collating all these photographs as a bigger impression there. So it does leave quite an impression. And actually, that's not everybody. We actually had more people in it. We didn't have enough room to squeeze everybody in. But it shows the commitment of the organisation, of the staff there as well. So this is another thing we really wanted to go to the Youth Parliament in the Dáil last year. So we were planning something similar, and I just contacted Richard Bruton's PA and said, look, is there any chance we go to it? And she said, yeah, here's your ticket. So we totally surprised. So myself and Peter went to the Dáil, and we did a great day out. And another example of the complete brass neck I have, this was at the Public Sector Energy event earlier this year, and I am a mega fan of Mary Robinson, as you can see by the smile on my face. And she was getting ready to go on stage, and I just spotted her sitting up the front. And I just said, I'm just going to do it and see what happens. And she was lovely. I'm sure she had better things to be doing than talking to this crazy woman who was started tweeting on about what she was doing and how much of a fan she was. But you do have to maybe push yourself a little bit and do things that maybe you're not sure how they're going to turn out, but thankfully that one did. Um, so we're not involved just in climate action. We try to explore areas that are related to climate action or interconnected to climate action. And the SDGs, which I'll talk about shortly, massive area, donut economics, big at the moment, and a lot of overlaps with climate change and climate crisis. Innovation politics, cities of tomorrow. We've been shortlisted as well for the World Forum of Democracy event in the Climate Academy for next year. We're involved in local government excellence awards, involved in lots of bits of pieces. So it's, it kind of all adds up, and it kind of makes the bigger picture as well more attractive. So this is just something I saw last week I thought was really interesting. So it's activate action confidence. It's the capacity to step into the unknown and imagine future possibilities, create new learning environments, and use head, hearts, and hands, and the hands of the action. I just thought, yeah, that kind of resonates with what we're doing and how we're trying to bring everything together. So what's next for us? SDGs is a huge amount of work we have to do, promote that way, and it's a powerful way to promote climate action. If climate action is not your thing, there's another 16 things that might appeal to you. Want to keep working on the Climate Academy. How we do that during COVID, we'll just have to wait and see. We also need to get our climate action website up and running to showcase everything we're doing. We also need to work on organisation culture, in-house training for the SDGs and so forth, and getting staff involved in that as well. Continue work with Climate Action Forum and with sustainable energy communities, and just continue to learn, because we're just going to constantly learn and upskill ourselves as well. And then enhance our network and continue to look for partners as well. So there's one or two things I want to show you here as well. I think it's really important. I think if we can join the dots with these, it'll make a big difference in the work we're doing in terms of awareness and getting the information out there. So I mentioned donut economics, SDGs there, you can see there. This is the imagination sundial, and I have the links here to you can have a look at yourself. It's really, really interesting concept about kind of around people and place. So if we can kind of merge all these together, I think we'd actually have something really significant. So the key takeaways, I'm just going to go over very quickly. So really, don't be afraid to be different and try something new. It's exciting. You never know where it might lead, but try and keep it local and keep it personal, and then venture outside your comfort zone. And that's not easy to do, especially maybe for us engineers, but look, it can be done, and you just maybe have to keep pushing yourself. This becomes part of your story. So it's really important to document that story. And also, we have an excellent local authority network. And I think after today, hopefully we'll be able to connect virtually and support each other and get to know each other and help each other out in different things. It's important to share your ideas as well, your story, your knowledge, what works, what doesn't work, and whether that be within that network or outside of it, and so forth. It's really important to do. And also just to unleash your creativity and innovative side. I suppose we all have creativity in us, but it's very deep, and it's a wonderful opportunity to be imaginative and do things a little bit differently. And we've never had such an opportunity as well. So this will never happen again. We're in an exciting place, and it's a good place to be at the start of this journey. And also, as the previous slide mentioned, to look outside climate action, that there's a lot of stuff related to it that connects to it, and it just makes I suppose, a bigger picture and maybe a better picture for people to relate to. And then as well, every idea matters. Doesn't matter how strange it might be, put it down. It might be useful in the future. So I suppose just to demonstrate these takeaways and me talking about storytelling, I was trying to say, well, can I actually show you through a story of my own how this relates to these various things. So I looked to home to my daughter, and to this time, well, just over a year ago, when she was putting together a Halloween costume, and she wanted to do something different. She wanted to create something, do something imaginative, but she wanted her friend to go along with her as well. Sorry, the lights have just gone out there. To support her in this. So the two girls got themselves together and started plotting and creating and whatnot. So off to school they went for the last day before the Halloween breakup, and drove them to school, and lots of kids there in witch costumes and zombie costumes and all sorts of mad fast fashion costumes. And my daughter and her friend arrived there as a washing machine and a tumble dryer. So thinking outside the box while literally in a box. And the ironic thing is these two don't really involve themselves in laundry at all, so it's a bit funny they go dressed as washing appliances. But it was daring to be different and to think differently and be creative and push those boundaries and just go out there and do it. So I thought that was maybe a good story to end with. So thank you very much for listening. My contact details are there. Please do feel free to reach out, get in touch. We're happy to talk to people and share ideas and learn ideas from you as well. So I'm going to finish up here now, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen if I can figure out how to do it. And I will see you in the Q&A. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you soon.